What's up, collectors? Today we're going to check out Alt Fragrance's Exec Cologne and see if it matches up to Creed Aventus Cologne. Stay tuned. So welcome back, collectors. My name is Earl and this is The Casual Collector. So we all know about the House of Creed. We know how polarizing it is. We know that it is a fan favorite within the community. People who don't even collect fragrances know about the House of Creed, and most of them know about Aventus, even if they can't call it by name. So in 2018, when Creed released Cologne, it came out to pretty good reviews. I saw some people wasn't so sure about it, but over the past couple of years, people have really grown to accept it and even like it, that being myself included. So if you see my previous review on the Creed Cologne fragrance, then you know that I like it for its citrusy and musky attributes, and the fact that it's not as polarizing. It comes off to me like more of a designer fragrance, something that can be used more often, not necessarily in one certain occasion, and you can tell that by the amount of usage I got out of the bottle. So because of the way I've been using this and the price point, I've been really interested in finding a cologne, something that smells pretty similar to it, something I can wear a little bit more often, so I can save the juice in this and use it for maybe an occasion, although this is not necessarily a specific occasion fragrance. So after being in communication with Alt Fragrances, they sent me this fragrance, which is called Exec Cologne number 27, to try out, and I figured, hey, why not do a fragrance versus battle and see if Alt Fragrances Exec Cologne matches up or stands up to the Creed Cologne. So let's get started. So to test it out, I'm gonna spray Alt here on my left hand. I'm gonna do a couple of sprays, and then I'm gonna put Creed on my right hand. So the Alt fragrance opens up similar to the Creed Cologne with that mandarin and that ginger note, but it almost jumps straight to the birch note. It becomes woody really fast, where Aventus stays citrusy for a little bit longer. And really with Creed Aventus, you get most of the composition in the beginning. It's one of those well blended fragrances where you will get pieces of the top, the heart, and then the base almost immediately. As it starts to dry down, it transitions a lot smoother, going from the top, then the heart, then the base. With so many Creed variations that's out in the market, I'm always interested to see which fragrance could come close to the actual Creed fragrances. And while Exec Cologne does smell obviously like the Aventus fragrance, to me it still leans more toward the OG fragrance. And with the OG fragrance, I mean there's been so many different batch variations to where some fragrances smell more woody, some fragrances smell more citrusy, and depending on which one you have, people pretty much like them all. It just more or less bends towards your preference. And in my opinion, my strong opinion, this still really kind of leans more to the Creed OG, the black bottle. It doesn't remind me so much of Creed Aventus Cologne. It's still very wearable though. It's not polarizing like some of the other fragrances like Pineapple Vintage and even Club de Nuit Man Intense. So it has the subtle nuances of cologne, but it smells more like the OG. So I would rate this fragrance to be about 90% of this fragrance, because the original Aventus and then the Aventus Cologne actually really does smell alike. It just carries on different personalities, with, like I said, the OG being more polarizing, this one being a little bit more laid back, a little bit more inviting, and a little bit more versatile to be able to use in normal everyday usage. So we're going to talk about projection and longevity. For the Alt fragrance, I would say spread about 6 to 8 times. That should lend you about an hour to an hour and a half of really good projection. And then as far as longevity, you get about 6 hours of pretty good sillage before it becomes a skin scent. Like I said though, it becomes a woody fragrance almost immediately. So after about 30 minutes, you'll really start to get the woody note and the styrax note down in the base. And this becomes a base heavy scent fairly quick. And for the Creed Aventus Cologne, if you aren't familiar, I would say about 6 sprays for this. About the same amount of time for really wide projection. And then as far as CR, just about 7 hours. But the transition period takes a little bit longer. So I would say maybe 3 or 4 hours before you start to really get the dry down and the citruses go away. So in the last few hours, you start to get more or less the woody and the musky scent. And then, like I said, after about 7 to 8 hours, it becomes a skin scent before it really kind of goes away. So it depends on the time and the weather. It may be a skin scent or it may just completely evaporate. So you get pretty much the same amount of wear out of both fragrances. So let's get to what everybody's always concerned about. That's the price. Exec Cologne from Alt Fragrances retails for about $50 for a 60 ml. Creed Aventus Cologne, which this is a 1.7 ounce bottle, retails as low as $269. That's the cheapest I was able to find on a legit gray market website. Obviously on the Creed site, and if you go to the store, it's definitely around $300 or well over $300. So in total, Exec Cologne is really a good fragrance. It does have the Creed DNA. It's just not Creed Cologne. It's more or less on the OG Creed side. And they have other Creed clones. I think they even do like mixtures where they mix certain fragrances together. So there may be some mixtures of Creed Cologne and then they have their own. I think it's just called Executive. I could be wrong, don't quote me. But I do think it's worth checking out. For 60 milliliters, you get it for $50. You know, for the people that's casual, like I am or once was or will be becoming very soon again, it will really serve you to have that DNA if you really are a fan of Creed Aventus, either the Cologne or the OG. So I don't know if I will wear this in place of this, but if I just want to have like that Creed feel, I now have an option with wearing this, and then like I said, I have Club Dealing with as well. So it just depends on which fragrance I decide to grab that day. And unfortunately, I'll probably still be using the hell out of this too. So that was my take on Alt Fragrances Exec Cologne number 27 versus Creed Aventus Cologne. Really good fragrance. I think you should check it out the way you checked out this video. And if you like this video, please be sure to hit the like button. Drop me a comment if you have any questions about this fragrance, or drop me a comment and let me know what other fragrances you would like to see compare or battle side by side. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I drop videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And until next time, you guys be sure to smell good and smile. I'm out.